Season 3 is here and I'm finally going to be giving you some updated settings that will instantly improve your game. Check this.
Oh my god. Rip. Shit on.
What's up YouTube? In today's video I'm going to be giving you the best controller, graphics, audio and interface settings, so you won't want to miss this one. Having the right settings are crucial because you could essentially be holding yourself back if they aren't. Anyway, let's get to it. So for my button layout, I actually have mine on default because I play claw, but I will be coming back to this page later to let you in on some secrets, so stay tuned. Okay, so for my horizontal and vertical stick sensitivity, I play on 1.65. This is actually the sense that Optic Dashi plays on, and he's one of the straightest shooters in the CDL. The reason why I play on this is because it's not too fast and it allows you to precisely center without having next to no difficulty. But if you still feel like this sensitivity is too fast, try 1.40. And if that's still too quick, try 1.20. However, anything under that, you're just handicapping yourself because you'll be moving far too slow. I personally don't play on flip, but if this is something you use, it isn't a problem. Controller vibration, make sure this is off. Trigger effect, make sure this is off too. You're not going to want these things on while playing multiplayer since they're very distracting and aren't beneficial in any sort of way. So for my dead zone inputs, my left and right stick min, I've gone for 4. However, if your controller has any stick drift depending on which stick, increase your left or right side until you don't notice it anymore. For the left stick max, you actually want to have this on anything between 60 and 75. Since this is the stick you're going to be using for movement and will feel much quicker and responsive having it lower. I've gone for 65, and for the right stick it is on 90, which is pretty much on default as it is nowhere near as important as the left one. And lastly, for the L2/R2 button dead zones, I believe that's LT and RT for Xbox, you're going to want these both set to 0 so there's no input when aiming and shooting your weapon, making your reactions a lot faster in certain situations. This will give you an advantage against players who don't have this setting. For the sensitivity multiplier, make sure this is on 1, and then head over to aim and advanced settings. Once you're here, go to ADS sensitivity transition timing. I have mine on gradual. Instant is honestly pretty good too, but for me personally, I prefer gradual. For aim response curve type, dynamic, as this is going to make you the most snappy when aiming onto a target. Literally all the pros use this, so it's quite a big setting. For custom sensitivity per zoom, I have my first two on 0.80 because it makes tracking your opponents so much easier. For sprint assist, make sure this is set to tactical sprint assist and have the sprint assist delay on 0. This will then put you in an auto attack sprint just by pushing your left stick forward. You can actually save your controller's lifespan by using this setting because you aren't having to click in your left stick to sprint, which can give you some horrible stick drift. Mantle and crouch assist both off to avoid getting killed auto mantling. I actually play with corner slice off because I feel like it's unnecessary since it doesn't make you lean from an enemy's POV. Like your gun is tilted for you, but for everyone else you're just standing up straight, not from any angle. For slide/dive behavior, I play on hybrid as it's the best, but if you're not bothered about diving, go for slide only. Never play on tap to slide or tap to dive since there's a huge delay. The reason is because the game basically has to decide whether you're going to slide or dive with this setting, so playing either hybrid or slide only will eliminate the delay entirely. Automatic airborne mantle off to avoid accidental mantles. Make sure sprint restore and slide maintain sprint are both off so that the game feels more fluid when going around the map. After that, head over to movement advanced settings, and for your tactical sprint activation, make sure this is on single tap sprint. This setting makes it so you don't even have to press in your right stick, you only have to push forward to sprint instead of clicking to activate. Moving on to the combat section, the only thing you need to change on here is in the combat advanced settings. I have my interact/reload behavior on tap to reload. Prioritize interact is great too, but I feel like for multiplayer it makes you pick up guns accidentally. So I prefer tap to reload over it, to be honest. Right guys, as promised, I've came back to this page. So if you don't play claw or have any paddles, this will be beneficial for you. However, if you do, you are welcome to skip this part. There are 3 button layouts I would like to recommend, one being tactical. Tactical allows you to slide, drop shot, or even snake without taking your thumb off the analog stick. So instead of using circle to crouch / prone, it will be the right stick. And circle will be, if you're an Xbox, will be to melee. Second one I would like to recommend is stick and move. This is pretty much the same as tactical but reverse. So instead of going prone with your right stick, it will be used for jumping instead. And circle or B will be used to melee again. This layout is good for jump shotting with more precision. And lastly, the third one I would recommend is L1 or LB bumper jumper tactical. This layout grants you both. You can jump, drop or slide without moving your thumb off the analog sticks. This is if tactical and stick and move had a baby. So have a little play around and see which one's for you. So if your monitor supports 120Hz, make sure this is ticked. For eco mode preset, make sure this is off if you're on console, because you don't want any unnecessary power consumption being used up by your console. Under the quality section, make sure world and weapon motion blur are both off, as well as depth of field. The reason why is because it drastically affects your visibility. Fidelity FX cards have this on, and if you play on console, have the strength on no more than 80, because you can actually lose frames if it's beyond that. And for on-demand text streaming, have this set to minimal and then small, because this can actually interfere with your internet. Under view, my FOV is 103, since it isn't too zoomed out without being limited at the same time. ADS FOV affected and weapon FOV wide. This just makes it so you have less visual recoil unaffected, and you can also see more since your gun isn't as big and wide. You want your first person camera movement on the least, which is 50%, to alleviate motion sickness that some players might get. And for inverted flashbang, make sure this is on. So when you get stunned or flashed, you ain't getting blinded, because it can be so bright. Make sure your master volume is on 100. Hit show more. Music volume doesn't really matter. Dialogue volume, have this to 50 so when the characters are talking it isn't too loud. Effects volume on 100, and lastly cinematic volume on 0. For advanced headphone mode, have this on, and if you are willing to spend the money on the personalized profile, I would go for it, because to be honest you do get some audio cues that you wouldn't normally get without it, so have a think about it. For audio mix, go for tray out mix. That's what I use on console. Asymmetrical hearing compensation on. Reduced tinnitus sound also on, so that the ring of noise isn't as loud when you get stunned, for example. And finally, this is a personal preference, but I've been liking the classic hit marker preset. So for my telemetry, I have all of these selected. In game they are located top left side of your screen. The most important ones I would say are the server latency and packet loss, so you can see what ping you're on in game, or if you're experiencing any packet loss. Okay, so now I'm going to be giving you the best color settings for this game. They will absolutely make your game pop. Okay, what I'm going to do is reset this so I can be with you guys every step of the way. So what you want to do is turn the saturation and brightness up all the way and then hit apply custom color. But if you don't like default colors, then you can just change them. So once I've done all this, I'll get back to you with the next step. Right, so now that that's done, you literally do the same thing for the squad member colors and you'll be chilling. For color, make sure it's filter 2. For color target, on both, and make sure both world and interface color intensities are on 100. Under the gameplay HUD section, click on safe area and make sure this is minimized to the fullest, so that your minimap and anything on your HUD is closer to you. This helps a lot if you play on a bigger screen or any display. For multiplayer, HUD preset, pick magnified, and trust me guys, it's so much better than standard. It makes seeing the minimap and other key things so much easier, which is very important. And once you've done that, head over to visuals and put the minimap shape on square. Player names on full names. On the crosshairs, this is super important as well, have this on static. Center dot scale, largest. And if you guys do want a good crosshair color, I would go for red. It definitely makes centering a lot easier because the eyes track red quite well. Anyway YouTube, that's going to do it for today's video. I really hope these settings work for you like they have for me. If you guys have any questions about a particular setting, drop a comment and I'll respond to you as soon as I can. Catch you fellas in the next one.